8 humans.
16,000 animals.
1 sealed structure.
No ventilation.
No escape.
The simulation begins.
A closed system, isolated from the world. Every organism shares the same air.
Oxygen is finite.
Humidity begins to rise. The air becomes dense and heavy. Contamination begins at ground level. Organic waste accumulates rapidly. Manual removal becomes necessary.
Larger animals accelerate the load.
Physical strain increases rapidly.
Fatigue begins to compromise performance.
The atmosphere begins to change.
Ammonia begins to accumulate.
Gas distribution becomes uneven.
Exposure begins to irritate the eyes.
Human response follows immediately. The respiratory system begins to absorb toxins. Oxygen stability is compromised. Oxygen levels fall below safe limits. Cognitive impairment begins. Stress spreads across all organisms. Neural fatigue intensifies. The system enters a state of instability.
Toxic saturation reaches critical levels.
Oxygen concentration falls below survival threshold.
Immune systems begin to collapse. Pathogen growth accelerates uncontrollably. Cross-species transmission reaches peak probability. All systems exceed safe limits. The environment becomes unsustainable. System failure initiated.
The simulation begins with spatial geometry.
The dimensions define the total volume.
Approximately 1.5 million cubic feet.
At first glance, sufficient.
But space is not empty.
$16,000 organisms. Each requires separation.
Movement pathways are required. Vertical stacking begins. Free space disappears rapidly.
No room remains for food.
No room remains for water.
Structural stress increases. System overload. The structure fails before the journey begins.
Predators and prey share the same enclosed space.
Prey response activates instantly. Scent becomes the primary trigger.
Stress levels begin to rise. Confinement amplifies aggression. Structural stress begins.
Force application increases. Repetition accelerates failure.
Separation fails before survival begins. Water demand reaches extreme volumes.
The weight exceeds structural tolerance.
Food supply multiplies the problem. Storage conflicts with survival space. Humidity penetrates all stored materials. Fungal growth begins within days. Dry feed loses structural integrity. Stored water becomes contaminated.
Spoilage spreads across all reserves.
Supply systems collapse. Resources become the cause of failure.
Predators require constant protein intake.
Daily consumption scales exponentially. Preservation methods are absent.
Decomposition begins within hours.
Humidity accelerates degradation. Cross-contamination becomes inevitable.
The food chain expands beyond control.
Without sustainable feeding, survival is impossible. Ventilation begins with a single opening. Distance prevents effective air exchange. Gases originate from decomposition. Gas stratification begins immediately. Lower decks become toxic first. No vertical escape path exists. The opening cannot sustain circulation.
Toxic buildup continues unchecked.
Oxygen is gradually displaced.
Ventilation system collapses completely.
Daily waste output reaches extreme levels.
Accumulation begins immediately.
Manual removal becomes constant. Workload exceeds human capacity. Removal fails to match production. Absorption begins within the structure.
Organic decay weakens the material.
Decomposition releases toxic gases.
Containment becomes impossible. All systems exceed survivable limits. The environment becomes fully saturated.
The system collapses from within.
When all survival variables are combined, the system collapses instantly. The projected timeline does not reach months. It fails within days. 8 humans cannot remove 40 tons of waste per day. This creates a self-amplifying collapse loop.
Ammonia burns the lungs, while methane displaces oxygen.
Food supply collapses through decay and contamination.
Predators cannot be sustained without destroying the system. Cross-species infection becomes inevitable.
Every system fails simultaneously. The image of survival collapses under reality.
A year-long survival under these conditions is biologically, chemically, and physically impossible. Did a miracle override the laws of biology? Or does the data tell a different story? The data is in front of you. Now defend your position in the comments. Next, we simulate 2 million people crossing the desert. How fast does an entire ecosystem collapse?